What's going on, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists, and welcome to this episode of Mayhem in Middle-earth, or Middle-earth Mayhem. It doesn't really matter what way around you say it. It seems to work. What I wanted to talk about are I'm quite excited about a few things that I've picked up recently, because initially I wasn't going to get involved in the Lord of the Rings game or the Hobbit game, the whole Middle-earth thing, but I suppose it was inevitable that fire would be kindled and started. I knew it was going to come, and people have been talking about would it be cool to see some representations of certain scenarios from the story and other things as well. I've got some ideas for it. It's all long-term stuff, but there's all sorts of things to do with Middle-earth that I'd like to do. The role-playing side of it as well. I've got my whole nostalgia of the game I used to have when I was a child, the Middle-earth game. So I've got all that going on. But I thought, wouldn't it be cool to recreate some of the big, like the more epic battles, like Helm's Deep and Minas Tirith, and the whole thing, the Gondorians and all that kind of stuff. But how would I represent that in miniatures? I haven't got the financial capability to support something like that, let alone the time to build and paint up all those miniatures. Well, the thought occurred to me I might have to go smaller scale. That might work. So I thought 6mm might work. 6mm on the epic big scale battles, and then back to 28mm for the smaller skirmish type stuff. That would probably work, I think. Don't know how skirmish works in the rules they have. I don't know how their rules work at all yet. But I was looking on, the internet for some 6mm fantasy rules, and I came across this called Firestorm, which is it's 1/300th scale, which is 6mm and beyond. It says it's by someone called Martin James Publications. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, it seems it's got the feel of a homebrew rule set. But I purchased them, £2. Came with like a cheat sheet as well. So it's quite professionally done, even though, I think it's like homebrew rules. I say homebrew rules, it's got all the hallmarks of homebrew rules. But yeah, and it was advertised as an easy rule set, but then that might be a seasoned wargamer's words, in which case it's probably going to be complex for me. I seem to get the impression the smaller the scale, the more complex the rules seem to go. Seem to rely on realism, what's realistic, whereas when you get to the bigger scale models, they seem to be more, more dramatic and theatrical, so hence your heroic scales and things like that. But yeah, but looking through this book, there's no pictures in it. It's all like tables and words, and there's no lore there at all, literally. But it's everything I think you need to do a 6mm scale wargame with fantasy figures. So I'm going to have a look at that at some point. As a side note, I picked up Grima Wormtongue. If you can see him there. Interesting figure. I quite like the pose. He just sort of popped up. But now let's get to the main crux of what I'm excited to show you, and it's partial unboxing as well. So let's cut to that. Okay, I think this is a good angle. And just look at this. Fairly pristine in its box. Lord of the Rings adventure game, Middle-earth, and a company called Ice, which did the game I had when I was a kid. But this isn't the same box cover. It might be the same contents, I don't know. I'm tracking down the one I used to have, and hopefully I'll be able to show you that and show off that. But let me just look at this. In the Lord of the Rings, this is an RPG game. In the Lord of the Rings adventure game, you will follow in the footsteps of all the great heroes of legend as a mighty elven warrior or a deft hobbit scout. You will enjoy hours of adventure in the magical, mythical world of j.r.r. Tolkien's. You know, so let's have a look what I've got. I don't know how complete this is going to be, but there. Now, here's one thing that was kind of prevalent in a lot of games back in the 80s, and I think this is from the 80s. I believe it is anyway. Let's have a look. Well, 91, so just a little bit after. So, fair while ago. You had these, instead of having to buy miniatures, they gave you these cardboard cutouts with the stands to represent the figures, and that's pretty cool. It's got 2 D6s in it, so I don't know what the dice system is for this game. Let's take that off. Don't need that. Sorry, it's just me opening my bin. So in here, and I'd be very surprised if all the figures were here. I don't need those dice for a minute, but here you've got, that's Mary, for instance. So you get here. I can remember these games from when I was a kid, so you get your Mary cut out, put it there, and you've got there he is, there's your figure for when you do role playing. And to be honest, in terms of role playing, back in the days of pad and paper and pen, that's all you really needed, and that was quite luxurious for the time doing that. So what I'm going to do, I'm getting the figures all together, or I'm collecting the figures, collecting up, and I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to try and get figure representations of all these. So who have we got here? Who's this? Tathania. There's another one. Galind. Lily. Rilwyn. Oh, there's Pippin there. But they're just representations of your characters. I see Gandalf there, or what looks like Gandalf. Yeah, that's Gandalf. I mean, it looked like Gandalf, but you never know. But these, yeah, pretty cool. So it's going to be nice to go through these. Now I'm going to be going through the books again as well. I'm going to be rereading Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Silmarillion, all that, appendices. Right, so that's the first thing I came across. Let's put these dice back in here just to be keep the box set together, because it's a really nice idea. I remember, and I'm sure it was in the 80s, I had the game I'm talking about, but I seem to remember having immense fun, hours and hours of fun with my friends playing Lord of the Rings. This is nicely packaged up, and it was all packaged pretty much like that. Some more there, characters to cut out. One of the things that caught my eye was, I think it was a map. Right, so now this. Now this looks like someone's homemade character sheet, or unless it's came with the game, I don't know. Yes, it looks like their own characters. But it might not be, I don't know. Put that to one side. Venturing in, dawn comes early. That's obviously, I would say, Eowyn and the Witch King. Recreating that classic scene from Return of the King. Because that would be Merry there, wouldn't it? Witch King with his mace. I would say that's what that was. Now this is what I was interested in with these games. Maps, any maps. Then I can recreate situations and scenarios, but looking through this game, looks like it's going to be good. There. Awesome. Things like this in the back as well. Societies formed by people interested in Tolkien's works have sprung up all over the world. If you're looking for a chance to talk about The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings with folks who like the tales as much as you did, try contacting one of the groups below. Many of them print newsletters or bulletins for their membership. The addresses are as current as possible, but some groups change addresses often. And then it gives you addresses of places you could write to. And this was a thing back in the days gone by. You would do things, and I would do things like this. I'd think, oh look, the Elvish Linguistic Fellowship, ELF, kind of cool. I'd write to them and, you know, join their club and society and be a member and things like that. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That looks like Treebeard there on the back, good artwork. The books are in lovely condition given the age. Right, we've got the guidelines. This might be the game mechanics. Saw mention of 2d6. Here we go. Look, character records. Oh, it's in perfect condition. So, you know, you can photocopy these or scan them off now. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so stoked with this. It's like a whole game system. So this is a real what's the word I'm looking for? Deviation from like Dungeons and Dragons. This is more old school stuff, and that's what's appealing to me. Come on, look at this, look, Middle Earth. Registration for something. Game system, GSI offers the latest in PBM technology. This is probably something which isn't even in existence anymore, but yeah. Read this first. Welcome to Middle Earth. What's inside the box? Now that there is the boxed edition I used to have when I was a kid. That artwork, and that's what I'm tracking down, trying to track that one down. And then obviously we'll be looking for adventures. Oh, wow. Look for these sequel adventures when you're ready for more excitement. Blah 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 blah. And on, be playable scenarios in Lord of the Rings adventure game. You want more? Lord of the Rings puts at your fingertips the personalities, favourites, blah blah blah. Wow. Middle Earth role playing box edition. Now this is the one I am trying to find because I just remember that artwork, and when I get it, I'll show it to you in more detail. Complete role playing system for the experienced gamer looking for a more complex, exhaustive set of rules. So that's like this is kind of like comparing the two sets. This is kind of like D&D basic, and that would be like D&D expert or advanced D&D. You know, that would be the literal difference between the two. So that's really cool. Looks like it's about the characters it gives you in the book. Oh wow, perfect, absolutely perfect. That's something I can set up on my tabletop. Get the right miniatures, I'll set it up, make dioramas, whatever. Oh wow, that's just so cool. Perfect, absolutely perfect. I can't wait to give him this. Oh, and this looks. I'm trembling with anticipation. Colour map. Oh baby. Oh baby. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Full colour map. Pristine of Middle Earth. Look at that. Complete campaign map. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I can remember as a child I used to try and draw this kind of stuff from the small maps from the little books in there that I had. This is, you know, all my dreams come true. This is perfect. Copyright 1989. Wow. This looks like it's just come off the shelf. Absolutely brilliant. Let's try and fold it back up again. Without getting tangled up here. Sorry about this, guys. The map kind of got away from me. People using tape, which they wouldn't. Right, okay. Stuff was made to last in the old days. There you go. Right. I was just worried about the danger of things sticking to it with sellotape. Wow. Oh, it's just fantastic. That, oh wow. I can't even describe my joy at seeing that. Last but not least, just a bit of packaging, don't need that. This here, some more mappage, more fold out maps. Wow. See, if you put, let's just put this to one side a minute. I don't know if you can see this here. You could lay this down, yeah. And you could use it to represent where your figures are going. You know, we start off at Saddle, go to Bree, you know, we just follow it round. That's brilliant. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. I'm totally stoked, as you may be able to tell. Maps like this are, well, they're just hard to come by. Good map production. A lot of people I know go into doing it. In fact, there's a guy on one YouTube channel I follow, WASD20. He does a lot of map making and drawing. He's brilliant at it, absolutely brilliant. I mean, top quality. That's the kind of thing which really makes a proper RPG for me. Then really is the last thing now. Just certain characters. Barleyman Butterbur. I think he was the innkeeper at Bree, I think. So you got Elrond there. Look. See, all these can be cut out and put into these plastic things. and oh boy, I'm just so impressed with it. Really impressed. If I can get any more box sets and books and things, then I might be able to complete my collection of the cutout characters. If I can do that, then I shall be able to progress to metal miniatures, or or smaller scale ones, like for the things like this. I mean, I don't know if this Firestorm book would be the one I use for 6mm wargaming for fantasy, but I found a good 6mm wargaming company that produces fantasy miniatures in 6mm, and I'm really looking forward to that. It doesn't matter about the scale. In fact, I just want to go through the rules here, crack out some pads and pens, and just have a game, you know, on paper and pen. Just sit around our table here and have a decent role-playing game in Middle Earth. I don't think, well, I don't know how that would be possible to film in an entertaining way. I probably wouldn't, but I'd certainly keep up on it. But we're certainly going to go through Middle Earth, and once I've read Lord of the Rings again, just to refresh my memory, it's a long time ago since I read it last, I'll go through all the appendices and all the backstories and all that kind of thing, and look at other possible scenarios that may have arisen had Tolkien lived longer, or had he, you know, he'd written Lord of the Rings earlier and been able to do more. Although I do believe his dream was for Middle Earth to come alive and be taken on board by other people, which it certainly has been. Anyway, sorry this has been kind of a long one, guys. I really do appreciate you coming along this journey with me. As you can tell, I'm super stoked with this, to come across it. Like I say, this is like the basic version of D&D, whereas the one I used to have when I was a kid, I do remember it being quite complex, and we sometimes had to simplify it a bit, because we were only kids, but but it really went into the lore and background of Middle Earth. It really went deep. So I hope I can get that as well, and maybe some adventure modules for you all. So thank you very much for watching. Remember, all brushes lead to war, because even in a game like this, and I'll be painting miniatures, I'll be needing to paint these guys up as well, in whatever capacity. I don't know where it's going, whether it's going to game filming or making dioramas, or both, but it would be good. Maybe if I can get some doubles of figures, I can do dioramas and then use them for games as well. Either way, it's a very deep, rich culture. It feels like I'm fantasy wargaming by going into this, because the background is so full. Even though I know it's fantasy, I know it's make-believe, but it feels like historical, if that makes any sense. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Remember, all brushes lead to war. I will see you on the next video. Stay safe and have a good week. Bye for now.